I'm JD Hagel with Aux'Arc Climbing. Today we're going to talk about the Rampf 39.2 polyurethane system. That's the ISO, that's the poly, that's the dyes that they use for it, the pigments I suppose. And it's what I've used to create these climbing holds and a number of the climbing holds behind me. Most of my climbing holds at this point are Rampf 39.2. I think all of my climbing holds in the last year have been. I've had Rampf 39.2 now on my wall for over a year, and I've abused it. I've left the same holes in the same position for a long time, 8, 10, 12 months, and abused them and worked on them, and had a bunch of people over this home gym working on them. They've gone to my gym and been climbed on a bunch there, and this stuff's lasting. So when you get into your shaping and your climbing holds creation, the DIY side of things, and you look for that affordable option to cast your climbing holds, you always go down to your hobby store and look for what they have there. You're going to end up with some different resins, some different epoxies, some other stuff, maybe a cheap poly, these things that I've used. And what you're going to find is that, yeah, you can cast them at home. You might have the tools of what you need. It's an easy one-to-one mix, but when you start adding dyes and you try and see how long they're going to last on your wall, you find that it just doesn't work. You can't get a consistent color, and they don't last on your wall long enough for you to justify the effort you put into it in the first place. What are your options? If you look at going to a much higher polyurethane, something's going to last on your wall for a while, you're looking at needing vacuum sealed chambers to degas things. You're looking at needing to pressurize or pressure pots to cast and shrink moisture and air bubbles in your climbing holds. You're looking at needing dehumidified areas and air conditioned areas to keep that moisture out of the air, to reduce those kind of problems in your holds, and it becomes very expensive very quickly. Rampf 39.2 is a product that's set out to defeat those problems. Bill Molitor has been with the DIY Climbing Holds Facebook page for a while. I've had him on my Facebook and Instagram for a long time. He's a representative from Rampf, which is actually a European company that specializes in high-grade polys for car design and all kinds of stuff. It's a huge company, and one of the things that they've tried to do is create an affordable poly for your more local market. And Bill Molitor is one of the driving forces behind that. 39.2 is the solution to these problems. It's an affordable, long-lasting polyurethane that's going to be consistent every time. All right, you're not going to have those problems with your inconsistent colors. You're not going to have the problems with moisture. It's got a lot of anti-moisture technology going behind it to fight those kind of problems. If you've ever cast a hold on a somewhat humid day, as in Arkansas, it's like every day down here, and you start climbing on that hold, and the outer shell of that breaks off, and you realize that you've got these like weird watery looking pockets all across that leading edge of your jug. That's moisture. That's moisture that polyurethane or resin just absorbed out of the atmosphere and into your hold just for you. And it's very hard to fight. So either you go like sit right next to an air conditioner and dehumidifier together in a sealed environment to cast these kind of things, or you come to Rampf 39.2. Everything in this box, this is probably 6 or 7 different casts out of less than a gallon of polyurethane, and everything's consistent. Everything's the same color, everything's the same texture, everything's the same quality. I can't beat that. I can't do that with any other product. The goals when you start looking at casting out of your house are, can I cast with the tools I have, or at least cheap tools to get? Can I cast in the home I have, and is it going to last on my wall long enough to justify the price, the money I put into this project? And with Rampf 39.2 it is. So you can pick up a gallon, which is actually 2 gallons. I don't know why they call it a gallon. It's 2 gallons. One's ISO, one's poly. You can pick those up for $96, all right, before shipping or taxes. That's about $6.50 a pound. If you go down to your hobby store and pick up that same amount of polyurethane, you're talking $200. It's a lot of money, all right? It's not cost effective compared to a better product, which is cheaper, like Rampf 39.2. Now you can order a quart of this if you want to test it for $60. I would probably just go the full gallon. You're gonna like it. It's gonna be great stuff. If you really want to try it with just the quart at $60 and save yourself $40, just in case you don't like it, you can. This is good stuff. The other thing is that when you're dyeing it, you can pick up your a $20 sampler that gives you 5 different bottles and 5 different colors to choose from. Or, like I did, I picked up 2 different little red ones to do this with, that you see them pictured here. And that's been more than enough for these. I'm not going to have a ton of red holds on my wall, so this worked out perfect instead of buying one of these cans for another $20. Now I've got a couple of those cans in the colors I use. I have a lot of green, I have a lot of pink, I got a couple of those cans that work great for that. But for a couple of one-off series, these little jars here are perfect for it. You can pick them up for 20. So for what are we up to? 96 plus 20. We're talking $116 to pick up the same color every time. Almost no moisture in the hold. It's going to last on your wall for 10 years. All right. Is it going to last as long as some of the stuff that's coming out of like the big name climbing hole companies? Well, some of those big name climbing hole companies now are using this product, so it's comparable. You know, at that point you're talking about traffic, and because your holds aren't going to face the kind of traffic their holds are going to face, your holds are going to be here for a long time. All right, a long time. You're not going to lose that texture for years. That's hard to beat with this. So, can you cast it with the tools you have at home? Well, you're going to need a scale and a couple of buckets and a mixing tool, right? Some easy stuff. Don't need a big scale. Pick yourself up a little cheap grams. As long as you measure in grams, you're good to go. Pick that up. You want to get down to where you can measure like 3 digits, you know, 123 grams or something, right? Pick up a cheap little scale, couple of buckets, mixing tool. It's all the tools you need. Done deal there. Can you cast in the home environment you have? Yeah, I probably wouldn't cast underneath a water faucet. I probably wouldn't cast outside in Arkansas humidity. If you got air conditioning in your house like most of us do, I cast down in my basement and I don't have problems. I have moisture. This is the amount of moisture I have, which is phenomenal. All right, I've had a lot of products come through this shop, and this is fantastic. I can't get this out of anything else. Rampf is the only product I've ever had that kind of luck with. So, yeah, you can cast with the tools you have, or very cheap tools. You can cast in the home you have, and it's going to last a long time on your wall. Now, you see when you start mixing them together, it's going to have a little bit different ratio. Other products will be like a 1-to-1 ratio. Rampf 3092 is going to be 100 to 90. All right. So yeah, it's involved a little math here at this point. But what you can do is you can talk to Bill and you can say, hey, I need that spreadsheet that JD told me about, and he'll shoot you a little spreadsheet that you can plug in the amount of grams you want to use. So like for my big pinches here, it's about 400 grams of product. I can plug that number in. It tells me how much poly I need, how much ISO I need, and how much dye to add to it, which is about a 4% load. All right. So then you throw your poly in one of your mixing pails. You dump a little bit of poly pigment you need with it. Mix that up. Dump your ISO in. Stir it all together. You've got plenty of working time. This isn't like some of the other products you've used that's got like a minute, minute and a half, maybe 2 if it's a high quality product. This has got a lot of time to work with. Wouldn't let it sit there for 5 minutes, but stir it up. Get it good and even. Do as best you can. Scrape the sides, scrape the bottom. Stir it all up. Start pouring. You've got some room to breathe. It's not going to start. I don't know if I've ever had Rampf freeze up on me. You know, as long as I'm not setting it down and gonna go get coffee or something, right? So super easy, super easy. So the calculator's right there to do all that kind of work for you. Just pour in the numbers so your gram scale tells you you're good. Throw it in the mold, off you go. You're not worried about stuff overheating. You're not worried about stuff having much moisture to it. You're not worried about those things that's going to last on your wall. For, like I said, for $96 for a gallon, $20 for dye, that's a pretty good deal you're not going to find somewhere else. If you want to try this product out, hop over to Bill, reach out to him at this email address I've posted right here as a genius of YouTube, and touch base with him, get started on it. Like I said, a lot of names have gone to this product. It's one of the few things you're going to find in the main industry that's also great for your DIY stuff. And it's worth it. It's worth it. Now, I will say that for $100 and poly, you know, I've picked up this less than a gallon of this is here. I've probably got a third of that gallon left for these holds, so I would say my money's well spent. But I also have a library of silicone to work with, so you build up that library and you can pump this kind of thing out whenever you need it. I've got 2 or 3 lines of granite. I've pumped this out in a bunch of different colors, some for the gym, some for here. Rampf 3092 is where it's at. I think Rampf and Bill Malter have worked really hard to create this product, and they've done a fantastic job for such a niche, small market that climbing hold hobbyists are. And yeah, I kind of want to put this video together for them as a thank you, and I appreciate them working with this hobby group, trying to create this product for us. And that's all I've bought. That's probably all I'm going to buy for a long time, if ever. Rampf 3092 is where it's at. That's the direction to go. I'm on board. So check us out on the DIY Climbing Holes Facebook page. Unless you're a bot, I'm tired of deleting those. And then you can also find me on Instagram and auxarcclimbing.com. We have some other stuff going. We just upgraded the channel. You can see we got a new camera here. This is not cell phone footage, which is such a nice change. I'm not even gonna lie. But yeah, we got some stuff coming down the pipeline. I'm excited about. We're gonna talk about some screw-ons in the near future. We're gonna talk about casting holds in a way that you can use a mold in multiple angles, because I've done that with some of these pinches. Lots of cool stuff coming down the pipeline. It's a good time to be a DIY climber. So, Rampf 392, Bill Molitor, reach out. That's the ticket, boys and girls. We'll see you later. Thank you.